So what will you actually do on this course? Well, you'll be writing code. And you need to write your code in the Julia language. There are two resources we recommend for that. The major resource, and the one we expect people will use most of the time, is the JuliaBox website. In this wonderful website, you can simply go onto the website and use the browser to immediately start writing code. It sits there waiting for you. You enter a line of code in the first box, you type Shift-Enter, and the code is executed. To do this, you simply go to juliabox.org, the website, and you start writing. If you want your own installation, that is, you don't want to be reliant on a web service provided by someone else, you can install Julia on your own computer, and then you can have exactly the same notebook environment by running the package called iJulia. We will explain exactly how you can get iJulia to run on your local installation using your own installation of Julia. So let's get started. JuliaBox is where you will be doing your coding. Go to the juliabox.com website and sign in with one of these three services. I created a special Google account for this. It takes a little while, but then you're there. So now you're in a Jupyter notebook. That's what that Jupyter is telling you. The Jupyter notebook has in the home directory a list of files. At the moment there's only the directory called tutorial in there. If you click on that, then you see all the notebooks that are available to you in tutorial. They're nice to explore. They're aimed at people that are not complete beginners in programming, but that's not to stop any of you from starting. They're nice to explore, although they're for more advanced people that this course is aimed at. So let's go back to the home directory. Let's explore this a bit further. There's the console, which if you click on that, you see a command line, and there's the sync service. So two services are available, Google Drive and Git repositories. This course actually has a Git repository, which we discuss in the reading on Jupyter Notebooks. The files is where you go to get files that are on your desktop. For example, we would like several of the files. So that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. We want to use them all. So click on them to highlight them and click on open to bring them across. It of course takes a little while to happen, and then they're all there. If we go back to the Jupyter notebook, we can't immediately see them, but we refresh by clicking on the refresh button on the top right, and we see all the notebooks that we are interested in. Before we go to the actual lecture notebook, this is available to you and you can download it. So exactly in the way that I have just done by bringing these 4 files into JuliaBox, you should go and download and bring them all in, and then you can run yourself this notebook and see everything I'm talking about at the moment. Further icons we can look at are these ones here. So that gives you background information about your account. This allows you to go to the julialang.org website and look at the documents about Julia, and that's your logout button. Right, so now that we know how to upload a notebook, let's see how to activate it. So you simply click on it, it opens in a new tab, and it takes a little while. You see that when last time I ran this was the box that I ran for a second time, so it doesn't have a 1 there. But if I now press Shift Enter, so you hold down the Shift key and you press Enter, and this is now executed. So this box that we've just done, notice that when I click on it, a little green box opens around it. If I click on the next one, that disappears. If I click on this one, I'm back there. This is a code cell. You have 4 different kinds of cells that you can see if you click on where it says code. And this is code that is executed by Julia. So you can see that in fact you have HTML possibilities inside JuliaBox. If we go to the next one, this is not a code cell, this is a markdown cell. That allows you to put in comments, writing, pictures, and so on, which we will do extensively in this course. Notice that when we are in a notebook, we have a number of editing things we can do. We can save and checkpoint, we can insert a cell, we can delete cells, and we can copy selected cells, and a number of other things which you should again explore. So in this lecture, what we are covering is JuliaBox, logging in, starting a new notebook, doing elementary arithmetic in a notebook, naming and saving notebooks, and opening and closing the notebooks that we are dealing with. So let's go back and look at how you create a new notebook. So that's what this box here on the top right is for. When I click on it, I see that a whole lot of possibilities open. I can create a text file, I can create a new folder, but among notebooks there are 4 different kinds of notebooks that I can create. So 0.5.0 RC4 is release candidate 4 of Julia version 0.5.0. So this is actually not an official version yet. It's only there for people who really like to experiment, and it's going to be released fairly soon. After that it will be Julia 0.6, and then after that it will be Julia version 1, which is expected around September 2017. This is the most recent, more or less stable version, so this is the one that we'll select, 0.4.6, and we see that now a third tab opens and another new notebook. We have Julia 0.4.6 up there to tell us that that's the version that's running, and this tells us what edit mode we're in. Now we're not in edit mode, so if I go back and I click on this box, I'm back in edit mode, and inevitably the first cell that opens is a code cell. If I want to, I can change it into a markdown cell, and I can say this, sorry, poor typing, let's try again. This is my first notebook. And again, I press Shift Enter, and I have a markdown cell with a comment, and below it I have a code cell. A new cell that opens is always a code cell, because after all, most of the time you will want to be writing code in Julia. So you can save your notebook, but before you do that you should give it a name. So what's your name shall we give it? First try. Alright. Once you've given it the name that you think is suitable, it's okay, and now you see that that thing has now, that entry there has become first try, so that's the name of the current notebook. There are unsaved changes, so we go to File. There are lots of things we can do under File, making a copy, renaming. But what we really want to do is to save it. Having saved it, it now exists as a checkpoint. Let's try and do some arithmetic. We can have 1000 minus 76. So, as you will find out later, it's very important that these are integers, so their type is that they are type integer because they don't have any decimal points. The moment I put in a decimal point, they're a different kind of number from the point of view of Julia programming. But that doesn't change anything about the evaluation. We press Shift, Enter, and we get the result that we expect. the standard operations apply. So we have 2 to the power 3 to the power 2, say. And that, of course, is ambiguous, but what Julia does when it sees powers like that is it evaluates them from the right. So that will first get 3 to the power 2, which is 9, and then it will be 2 to the power 9, which is 512. Let us see. Indeed, exactly, that's what happens. And so on. So now you can work in JuliaBox, you can open JuliaBox, you can draw in a notebook, you can start a new notebook and save your own notebooks. But in this course, we will not actually be creating new notebooks. We've made the notebooks available to you for download so that you can follow them alongside. From now on, we will actually be reading the notebooks that we have made available to you on screen rather than creating new ones. So now that we're ready to do that, that's what we'll do in part 2, and this is the end of part 1 of how to use Jupyter Notebook.